In astrology, the vertex, often called the third angle, is a mathematical point that represents karmic encounters, fated events, and the intersection of destiny with individual agency. When situated in the first house, the house of the self, the physical body, and the persona, this placement creates a powerful, albeit often unconscious, pull towards significant personal transformation through the catalyst of other people. The nature of the first house vertex. The first house is the domain of I am. It governs your appearance, your initial approach to life, and your physical presence. When the vertex resides here, your very identity is often shaped by external forces that feel beyond your control. While the first house is usually about self-assertion, the vertex introduces a passive, magnetic quality. Individuals with this placement frequently experience life-altering moments where they are chosen or called out by others. You might find that your path is redirected not because of a choice you made, but because of a person or a situation that demanded you show up in a new way. Because the vertex is always opposite the anti-vertex, which would be in your seventh house of partnerships, there is a constant tension between your personal desires and the demands of the other. The magnetism of fate. Having a first house vertex suggests that your physical presence and identity are instrumental in fulfilling your destiny. You may notice that you have a compulsive effect on others. People may be drawn to you for reasons they cannot explain, or they may project their own needs and expectations onto you. This placement often manifests as a feeling of being a pawn in a larger cosmic game. You might find yourself in the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time, to trigger a major event. This isn't just about luck. It's about a karmic requirement to develop a stronger sense of self through these external shocks. You are learning to reconcile the person you think you are with the person the world needs you to be. Transformation of the self. The core lesson of the first house vertex involves a radical restructuring of the ego. Because the vertex is sensitive to transits and synastry, meeting a person whose planets conjunct your vertex can feel like a bolt from the blue. These individuals act as mirrors or catalysts, forcing you to adopt a new persona or change your physical path entirely. For example, a chance meeting might lead to a career change that requires you to change your appearance or your mannerisms. You might be pulled into a leadership role you never asked for, simply because your presence commanded it. These experiences often feel like a destiny call that you cannot ignore without feeling a deep sense of psychological disharmony. Integration and evolution. To work effectively with a first house vertex, you must move from a state of being acted upon to one of conscious participation. In the early stages of life, this placement can feel overwhelming, as if life is just happening to you. You might struggle with a sense of lost autonomy. However, as you mature, you begin to recognize the patterns in the people and events you attract. You realize that these fated encounters are actually opportunities to integrate suppressed parts of your personality. By accepting the roles that life asks you to play, you actually gain more control over your identity. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming an active architect of your own character. Ultimately, the first house vertex is about the courage to be. It asks you to stand in your own light, even when that light was ignited by someone else. It is a journey from the accidental self to the intentional self, forged in the fires of karmic necessity. When a planet conjoins the vertex in the first house, the fated quality of your life is amplified. These planets act as the specific tools or themes through which destiny reaches out and grabs you. A conjunction here suggests that the planetary energy is not just a part of your personality, it is a requirement for your soul's evolution. Sun conjoined vertex. Your very sense of purpose is tied to these karmic events. You may feel that you don't truly find yourself until a major fated encounter illuminates your path. You are destined to be noticed. Hiding is rarely an option. Moon conjoined vertex. Emotional and domestic shifts feel like acts of God. You attract people who trigger deep subconscious patterns, forcing you to develop emotional maturity. Women or maternal figures often act as the primary catalysts for your personal growth. Mercury conjoined vertex. Destiny moves through a phone call, a letter, or a chance conversation. You may find that your mind is hijacked by new ideas that completely change your life direction. Siblings or neighbors may play a fated role in your self-development. Venus conjoined Vertex. This is the classic soulmate indicator. Significant romantic partners or aesthetic shifts feel inevitable. You are karmically tasked with learning about beauty, value, and balance, often through intense, written in the stars relationships. Mars conjoined Vertex. Life-altering events often come through conflict, competition, or sudden bursts of adrenaline. You are forced to develop your will and courage. These people don't just enter your life, they crash into it, demanding you take action. Jupiter conjoined Vertex. Fated encounters bring massive expansion, luck, or a complete shift in your belief system. You might meet a guru figure or experience a sudden windfall that forces you to take up more space in the world. Saturn conjoined Vertex. This can feel heavy or restrictive. You are fated to deal with authority, responsibility, and discipline. Destiny often shows up as a test or a burden that you must carry, which ultimately builds an unbreakable character. Uranus conjoined Vertex. Expect the unexpected. Your identity is subject to lightning strikes of change. You are karmically required to be a disruptor or an innovator, and destiny will use sudden shocks to keep you from becoming stagnant. Neptune conjoined Vertex. The line between reality and destiny is blurred. You may experience fated encounters that feel dreamlike or spiritual. There is a risk of losing yourself in others, but the goal is to develop divine compassion and artistic vision. Pluto conjoined Vertex. This is the most intense conjunction. You are destined for total death and rebirth cycles. Fated encounters are often obsessive or power-charged, forcing you to find your own inner strength through a complete overhaul of your ego. When the vertex falls in the first house, the sign it inhabits colors the specific energy of those fated encounters and the persona you are karmically pressured to adopt. Here is a brief look at how this manifests across the zodiac. Aries, you are frequently thrust into situations that demand sudden courage and independence. Fate forces you to stop hesitating and take the lead, often through accidental emergencies that only you can solve. Taurus, destined encounters often center around material stability and physical presence. You are called to develop self-reliance and a grounded sense of worth, often through people who challenge your comfort zone. Gemini, fate arrives through a whirlwind of information or a specific messenger. You are pressured to become a communicator or a bridge between ideas, often finding your identity changing through the people you talk to. Cancer, you are pulled into roles where you must act as a protector or nurturer. Fated events often involve family-like bonds or emotional crises that force you to develop and display your vulnerability. Leo, you may be unexpectedly pushed onto the stage. Destiny requires you to embrace your creativity and personal authority, often because others demand that you shine or take center stage in a crisis. Virgo, your fated path involves being of service or bringing order to chaos. You are often called upon to fix situations or provide essential skills, forcing you to develop a highly disciplined and useful persona. Libra, identity is forged through the mirror of intense one-on-one relationships. You are karmically required to seek balance and justice, often being called to mediate or harmonize volatile situations. Scorpio, this is a heavy placement involving deep psychological transformation. You are frequently called out to handle crises, taboos, or power struggles, forcing a total shedding of your old identity. Sagittarius, fate expands your world through strangers or foreign experiences. You are pressured to become a seeker of truth or a teacher, often forced into a broader perspective by unexpected travel or philosophical shifts. Capricorn, you are destined for a role of great responsibility or public standing. Even if you don't seek it, life places you in positions where you must provide structure, authority, and endurance. Aquarius, your fated encounters involve groups, social causes, or radical ideas. You are pushed to stand out as an individual within a collective, often acting as a catalyst for social change or innovation. Pisces, this is a highly spiritual or dissolving placement. You are often pulled into roles of extreme empathy or artistic expression, where your identity must merge with a higher purpose or help those who are lost. Subscribe, like, and share.